For the win last night, they do it in a way that I enjoyed. A pitching matchup, 2-1 win for the Phils. Zach Wheeler almost goes the distance. You don't see that happen too much. Hector Neris comes in the ninth, gets the save. A couple of home runs by Hoskins, and that's all it is. 2-1 pitching duel. Adam Wainwright, like 2014 version of Adam Wainwright. When was the last time he was good? 7 years ago, I think it was. Wainwright stinks, and he shut you down last night. That's how bad this lineup is right now. Can they fix it? Well, a desperate team got desperate yesterday and made a desperation move. We talked about it with Frank Klose. He is back with the latest edition of the mailbag. And let's check out what's inside this week's mailbag here with 97.3 ESPN.com Phillies insider Frank Klose. What's going on, Frank?
Not much, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. And I had to start my show off today with a little baseball rant. I saw a Boog Sciambi tweet today that said baseball as a collective whole is hitting 232. Bad baseball, man. 232, the swing and miss rate is 35%. Ball and play rate, 35%, and the swing and miss rate is 27%. It's bad baseball going on right now, and the Phillies are one of the key components of why it's so bad.
And they want to add more teams, right? I mean, is the game just watered down, or are we not attracting enough talent to the sport? I think there's a little bit of everything going on right here because, you know, it seems like interest is down among younger people. They're not playing the game. They're not playing high school, college, and becoming the next generation of major leaguers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know definitively what the answer is. Like somebody just texted in, is the talent watered down? I think, you know, high school baseball, I think is way better than anything. Like right now, the players at the high school level are way better than the game, but for whatever reason, it's not translating to the pro game. Like the pro game, 232 is awful. I say, let me ask you this question. A guy like Tony Gwynn, Mark Grace, Wally Joyner, these guys who were all like 313, 320, but they never hit home runs. Do they have a job today?
That's a great question. I would think that somebody would value their on base skills, but yeah, you know, I remember going to Phillies baseball camp as a kid, and Larry Boa telling us like, "Hey, I might have had one home run a year. You don't need to be that guy." But is that still the message being sent to kids playing baseball these days? Maybe not.
Well, right. It's like, hey, if you hit a single, nobody wants you. So if you're on base because you hit a single, you're not really all that valuable to me. I need you to either hit it over the fence or double. It's either a double or a home run or strike out. That's okay, too, because you tried to hit a home run. So if you just hit a single and you do that 33% of the time, you're really not all that valuable to me. Like, I remember looking at, you know, like Gwynn would hit 337 with 7 home runs.
Yeah, and he was one of the best baseball players I've ever seen in my life. So, yeah, it's kind of puzzling that people would not want to emulate that.
All right. We talked yesterday, right when it happened, when the Phillies called up Odubel Herrera. Yesterday, Girardi said he got 50 to 60 at-bats at the affiliate site. So one of the reasons they sent him down because they said he didn't have enough, you know, he missed 2 years. They wanted him to get more. So is 50 to 60 at-bats enough in terms of bringing him up? Or do you think he pulled the plug on the other guys a little too early? Moniak got 19 at-bats. Quinn, I think, had 27 at-bats. We can't really factor in Hastley, but did he pull the plug on those guys too early, or did they just want to get a Herrera up here?
I don't think they really wanted to get Herrera up. I just feel like in a way, this is like a panic move. You know, the Phillies aren't scoring runs, and actually, if it's pretty interesting that if you look at the games they're losing, it's usually when the back end of the starting rotation is pitching and they're not out slugging the opponents. So I just feel like they were kind of desperate for some offense, and looking at center field as a whole, they just figured, what the heck, we might as well give Herrera one last shot. I mean, this is probably Herrera's last shot. If he doesn't succeed now, then they got to go out and make a trade. I mean, at this point in the season, it's not time to make trades. No team is selling a center fielder yet, so you need some more teams to drop out of the race. So maybe they're just saying, you know, it's not, what the heck, we'll just see what he has now, and then trade deadlines in a few months. If he doesn't work out, we can just release him, and that'll be the end of the story.
So do you think they pulled the plug on Moniak too early? 10-game sample size.
So that's a really tough one. We talked about this in spring training. The Phillies seemed to, at the time, really genuinely feel like they wanted him to go to AAA, get regular at bats, because he never went to AAA, right? His last professional game before that quick call up last year was at the end of 2019 in AA. So I think the Phillies really believe that he would benefit from some time at AAA against AAA pitching, and he hasn't had that yet. So that was their gut response in spring training, and it's probably still their gut response. I think they called him up, even though it was kind of against their best wishes. Matt Gill of The Athletic reported that the Phillies were ready to make that move a little sooner, and then Moniak hit that 3-run home run against the Giants, and maybe they backed off just a little bit and gave him another series. In other words, Herrera might have been on that trip to Colorado originally, but I just think that they really believe what they believed all along was he needs that time at AAA, and that season's going to begin on May 5th. So he's going to go there every day. He's going to probably play center field every day, and they'll see if they feel comfortable calling him back.
All right, that was from Dave. John wants to know, he says, I imagine the Miners offered no solution to the 4th, 5th starter issues. They cannot keep sending Anderson and Moore out there. So what's the plan, Frank Klose?
Well, they did reverse course on one thing, and that's Spencer Howard. And Spencer Howard, at the end of spring training, they said, we don't think we're going to stretch him out as a starter this year. We'll limit his innings by making him a reliever, and he'll start out at the alternate site and work to build up to be a reliever. But now they're reversing course on that. They're gonna send him back to the alternate site, and then the AAA season will begin in a couple weeks. They're gonna let him start. So it has to be directly responsible, a direct response, to what they're seeing from their 4th and 5th starters. So the Phillies are 1-7 when the 4 and 5 spots in the rotation come up. They're 10-4 the other starts. When it's Nola, Wheeler, Eflin, right? I mean that's a huge drop off, right? So they're clearly seeing that yes, maybe this isn't going to work. And so they're going to send Spencer Howard down to AAA to be a starter. Now, once that season gets going, Ranger Suarez is pitching again. He'll be in that rotation. Adonis Medina, who got a cup of coffee last year out of sheer desperation, he was rushed from AA again because they needed somebody in 2020 like Moniak. So they'll have 3 guys in the rotation that they hope that they can turn to if they need to turn to somebody. And one of the shames of these doubleheaders, as they hopefully won't crop up too many times, but you get to bring up an extra player. But if you don't bring up that starter that day, then you deplete your bullpen for the rest of the week. So if you make Vince Velasquez start or something like that. So the effects of a Vince Velasquez start right now are not just Vince Velasquez's 4 innings and that not being enough. It's that they also have 1 fewer reliever in the bullpen, and that the trickle-down effect is a lot. So they got to do something. And my take on this is if Spencer Howard is going to limit his innings, they can bring him up now, use those innings now, and then hopefully by the trade deadline, they'll either be able to trade for somebody or they'll have somebody in AAA that can help make up for some of those innings. But they can't let themselves get too buried. I mean, the opportunity is there. The Braves aren't doing well. The Mets aren't really pulling that far ahead. They've got their own issues in the bullpen and stuff like that. So they don't want to be a 500 team, right? 3 good starters and then 2 that you need to score 11 runs to win. Well, then you're a 500 team, and that's basically what it comes down to. And they need to be better than that, and they have the opportunity to be better than that if they can get some of these things right.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because there's not a lot of you got the Cole Hamels, the Anibal Sanchez, Jeff Samardzija. You got some veteran guys out there, but that means you're basically taking the chance of doing the same thing you did here, which was throw less money at a veteran pitcher, hoping that he just has one last run in him. So fixing that 4-5 spot doesn't look like it's going to be easy. I'm glad, though, that they are doing what they're doing with Howard. I don't know why they did what they did with him at the start. That was kind of some yo-yo game that they played with him. He should have just been, hey, you're a starting pitcher. You're in the mix here. If you win the job, you win the job. I don't know what this – I know he's had some arm issues, but the Phillies always seem to get it wrong with these young guys, man. Every other team in their division seems like they've got young guys figuring it out, and the Phillies are the one team that's left behind.
Well, I will say this. Max Fried was really supposed to step in to be the ace for the Braves this year, and and he has not been the ace this year. So I don't think it's exclusively to the Phillies. I mean, definitely with what you see with the Braves, I think kind of indicates that, a lot of times it's not such a given, and it's it's really hard to find your groove. I mean, the Phillies thought they were getting a couple of veterans that would at least minimize the damage and get them to the bullpen at least after 5.
All right, last one real quick. Let's take a look. The outfield 2022. What are we looking at here? Because McCutcheon's deal is up. Center field's been a mess.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I think the Phillies are really hoping that Mickey Moniak will have a productive AAA in 2021 and kind of show that he can get that job. It seems like they're going to send him there to play center field and see what happens. Internally, they really don't have a lot of outfield options. I mean, you'd hope that Adam Hazley would work out and also Moniak would work out, and then you might be able to staff a couple outfield positions, but it's not going to work out that way, it looks like. And Andrew McCutcheon's going to be a free agent. The Phillies probably have to dip outside the organization to get somebody. But the problem is, at either position, not a whole lot of options for free agents. There's no impact bats in left field or center field. I mean, center field right now, Delino DeShields Jr. is the only free agent center fielder under 30. And DeShields could be had right now. They could trade for him off of the Rangers alternate site if they really wanted to do that. And then in left field, maybe Gregory Polanco. I mean, by far no impact type players. In fact, what I could see the Phillies doing is, we heard in the past that maybe Alec Boehm isn't projected as a third baseman long term. Do they sign one of the younger infield options like the Javi Baez types, and maybe bump someone like Alec Boehm to the outfield? Or I think they're going to be creative, something along those lines. Chris Bryant's a free agent as well. He could play third base or he could play the outfield. So I think the Phillies are going to need to probably have to sign somebody with an impact bat and figure out where to put him next year. And somebody's probably going to have to move to the outfield. I think that's just what's going to happen here.
All right. Of course, this Phillies season continues tonight as they have Game 2 against the St. Louis Cardinals. A masterful pitching performance. It is Zach Eflin getting the start tonight for the Phils. We'll see if he can follow up what Zach Wheeler did last night. And then tomorrow is up in the air. I guess Matt Moore, we'll see.
It's going to be Vince Velasquez. The Phillies have announced that Velasquez will start, even though Moore is back. So that's kind of an interesting thing, too. Are they going to piggyback the two of them and try to see if they can get a full start out of the both of them? Kind of remains to be seen. But the Phillies do have Aaron Nola on Thursday for the 4th game of the series. So they got Wheeler, Eflin, and Nola in the series. They got to win this series.
Frank Klose, his mailbag on Tuesdays at Frank Klose with a K, Klose. Frank Klose here Tuesday with the Phillies mailbag. And he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. For more Phillies from Frank, go to 973ESPN.com or use the free mobile app and get all of Frank's Phillies coverage on our website. All right, Frank, take care, bud.
Thanks, Mike.